Warning, this video contains team selection and captain choices which some viewers may find offensive.
Hey guys, and welcome back to FPL TV. Before starting today's video, a massive congrats goes to Lucas Matthew for winning the FPL TV Cup in the month of November. Lucas picked up a whopping 300 points in the last 4 game weeks and rose from 87k to an impressive 3k in the overall rankings. A superb effort, Lucas. You've bagged yourself the personally engraved FPL TV trophy, along with winning a range of other FPL related prizes which are now on their way to you. The league code for the December Cup has now been posted on the FPL TV Patreon page, so if you think your team looks strong for December and also want to help support the FPL TV channel, then click the link in the description box below and get your team signed up before the GAMEWEEK 15 deadline. Thank you to all the current patrons for supporting my channel, and let's now move on to my GAMEWEEK 14 review. In my previous video, I talked about taking a big hit and making many changes to my team for this week. Being a third of the way into the season now and ranked at 2.2 million, I felt I didn't have much to lose at this point. So for GAMEWEEK 14, I chose to take some risks and went through with a rare -12 hit. The 4 players to leave my squad were Sterling, McGinn, Callum Wilson and my backup goalkeeper David Button. Raheem Sterling did score against Newcastle, but 7 points from him wasn't too much punishment considering he does cost 12 million, and my reason for selling him was simply that he hasn't been providing good value for money. In their place came Son for Sterling, Pulisic for McGinn, Raul Jimenez for Callum Wilson, and I also brought in Leicester's Kasper Schmeichel, who was on a run of 4 consecutive clean sheets. It may seem unorthodox having 2 playing goalkeepers now in Schmeichel and Tom Heaton, but in game weeks 18 and 19, Leicester face Man City and Liverpool, while Tom Heaton and Villa have back-to-back home games against Southampton and Norwich. Therefore, having both of these keepers provides me with some nice rotation over the Christmas period. So let's see how the new look team performed. It was a mixed bag for the new signings, with Pulisic blanking in that shock defeat at home to West Ham, and Schmeichel conceding a goal for the first time since game week 9. Had I not brought in Schmeichel though, I would have had Tom Heaton's own goal and 0-pointer instead, therefore transferring him in didn't actually turn out too bad. There were instant returns for Son and Jimenez though, with both of them each scoring 3 points more than Sterling and Callum Wilson. So the new signings brought in 19 points, whilst those that I sold got 11. It meant the -12 hit left me 4 points worse off, but it did allow me to reshape my team quite significantly, so it hasn't worked out too badly in my opinion. For the sake of 4 points, I think the team looks a lot more solid now for the next few game weeks. Elsewhere, there was finally some big attacking returns from Alexander-Arnold, which given his creativity so far this season was definitely due. Although, it was painful to see big Virgil van Dijk score 2 goals from that creativity, having only sold him 2 game weeks ago. I had held Van Dijk through so many of his 2-pointers this season, only to switch him to Robertson recently and get his 2 points instead of Van Dijk's 17 this week. Long term, I expect this move to pay off, but still, a very tough one to take. In game week 14, I chose to hold on to the injured Tammy Abraham for now, and because he wasn't fit for the West Ham game, this meant I had to utilise Todd Cantwell at home to Arsenal. That choice ended up working well with a nice 8 points from the Norwich midfielder, and at the moment, if you own players facing this Arsenal defence, you always feel there's a chance of some attacking returns against them. As for the captaincy, Jamie Vardy continues to be a very reliable choice. He continued his scoring streak against Everton and was very close to 3 extra bonus points before Iheanacho got that last-minute winner. So for game week 14, I ended up with a respectable score of 65. Of course, I did take that big -12 hit though, therefore giving me 53 points overall, just 2 points above the average. Once again, this score wasn't enough to give me any progress in terms of my rank, only giving me a very small green arrow back up to 2.1 million. However, considering I started the game week on -12 points, that's still not too bad, because I'm hoping now with this reshaped squad that I can hopefully start climbing up the ranks a bit now. So let's move on to game week 15 and see how this new look squad lines up. And if you enjoy the content here at FPL TV, be sure as always to drop a like on the video, and most importantly get subscribed if you haven't already. For game week 15, the team looks fairly solid, with all 4 at the back having home fixtures. Liverpool are still yet to keep a clean sheet at home this season, but I'm going to continue persisting with the double up in defence for now. They face Everton and Watford in their next 2 home games, which I'm hoping they can finally keep some clean sheets in. Their attacking returns have been so good this season, if they can just add those clean sheets to their locker, we could be looking at some very big scores from these two. It's still not clear on whether Tammy Abraham will be fit to face Aston Villa in Game Week 15. However, with Martin Kelly on my bench at home to Bournemouth this game week, I think there's a very good chance of a clean sheet there for Palace. Therefore, he looks to be a more than decent replacement should Abraham not be fit. For the captaincy in Game Week 15, once again, there's no need to overthink this one. Leicester and Vardy are at home to bottom of the league Watford this game week, a side that have just sacked their second manager of the season, and Vardy is simply on fire at the moment. Raul Jimenez is a tempter at home to West Ham, but Vardy looks to be the no-brainer. The only thing I don't like about my side this game week is Anthony Martial, who has failed to score a goal in the 4 game weeks since I brought him in. His opponents Spurs have conceded 7 goals in 3 games since Mourinho took over, so keeping Martial isn't out of the question. I could just leave my team as it is this week and save the free transfer, however it's his performances in general that have looked a bit lacklustre. With 2 goals in his last 2 games, playing Todd Cantwell instead, who's currently on my bench, is an option. But if I am to transfer out Martial this week, he is a few midfielders I'm looking at with 7.8 million to spend. A player hitting form at the moment is Aston Villa's Jack Grealish. He's returned 15 points in the last 2 game weeks, and in general has put in some very good performances. In those 2 games, he's had 8 shots inside the box, the 3rd most in the league behind only Jimenez and Jamie Vardy. The only thing putting me off Grealish slightly is his upcoming fixtures, with Villa facing Chelsea away, Leicester at home and then Sheffield United away in the next 3 game weeks. Aston Villa's fixtures do improve significantly from game week 18 onwards though, so perhaps then would be the ideal time to bring him in. As a much shorter 3 game week punt, I have considered Ayoze Perez. Granted, he's not in great form at the moment, and I'm aware he only gets 60 minutes in lots of his games, but it's Leicester's next 2 home fixtures against Watford and Norwich that definitely have me tempted. Of course, Maddison and Tielemans are the more safe in terms of the Leicester midfield, but Perez is the differential at just 7% ownership, and on his day does have more explosive goal-scoring potential in my opinion. I was quite set on this transfer until Leicester played Everton, and with Iheanacho putting in a very impressive display, that does worry me a bit for Perez. If I were to take this short-term punt, I could then swap him straight to Grealish from game week 18 onwards once those nice fixtures kick in for Aston Villa. The final replacement I've looked at for Martial is Crystal Palace's Wilfried Zaha. The Ivorian has now scored in each of his last 2 games, and after a very quiet season so far is finally starting to hit some form. Notably, Crystal Palace have an exceptional run of good fixtures now, so Zaha could be a great pick for the long term providing he continues to play well. So that's my team selection and transfer thoughts heading into game week 15. Don't forget the deadline is Tuesday evening UK time this week, so be sure not to miss this one. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to get subscribed to FPL TV if you haven't already. Good luck to you all for game week 15, FPL responsibly, and I'll catch you all very soon.